Okay. Who we got? What about Miss Stanley? Is she with us?
I'm with you, Miss Esther.
I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, well, that's a privilege I don't usually get. Let me just start by saying kind of an update on the, I'm sorry, on the COVID information. We have 12 positive cases at this time, 19 quarantined. We had one new one today, a little first grader. And like everybody else, we've had to use teacher assistants to cover classes and even in the cafeteria. So we are doing the best we can at keeping our classes going. And that does include our teachers teaching from the classroom or home or wherever they need to be. And I really don't have anything else except, like Miss Kim said in her prayer, just to be with everyone that's in need as far as the COVID, the strep, the everything that's going around. It has, as you well know, Miss Esther, it has hit the Winfield community pretty close to home. So we pray for all of those people as well as everybody involved in the Afghanistan situation. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Okay, thank you. How about Miss Rector?
Hello there. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I'll kind of reiterate what Ms. Stanley said and just give you an update on our COVID numbers at Scott High. At the end of yesterday, we had 21 students who were out that were current positive cases. That's about 2%. We had another 30 students who were out as household or close contacts. So about a total of 50 students that are out right now related to COVID. As for faculty and staff, which is the number that we keep the closest watch on, we had 4 faculty and staff who were out on Monday. None of those are confirmed, but all were out sick and seeking treatment. We are greatly encouraging faculty and staff and students do not come to school when they are sick. We know that the most common symptoms of this Delta variant are headaches, runny nose, and sore throat, which can often be a very common symptom of a lot of things this time of year. But we are just asking everyone, students, faculty, and staff, to be super cautious. And if they are exhibiting any symptoms, but especially those three things, don't dismiss those as something else and come to school because you risk exposure to everyone. So please make sure that you're being cautious. Stay home. As Ms. Stanley said, we've had lots of things going on to make sure that we're keeping school going the best that we can, whether that's assistants covering classes, whether it's substitutes when we can get them. We do have a great shortage of subs. Teachers covering classes. Every day our teachers are just gracious beyond measure to jump in and cover classes when other teachers can't be there. So very, very thankful that I've got a staff who just jumps in and does what they need to do in order to make sure that kids are taught and classes are covered. But we also have teachers who are teaching kids virtually while they're quarantined, and they're even had some last week. They're back this week with us, but had some were quarantined last week and they were teaching from home. So I'm thankful that we have a faculty and staff who are very willing to jump in and just help to solve those problems when they arise. I'm sure you guys are going to talk tonight about some of these problems that are arising, and I'll just take a very quick moment to kind of express some of my thoughts and feelings. We are getting a lot of mixed messages coming out of Nashville, from the governor's office to the commissioner of education to the state health department. it's a lot of information coming at us. And I'm going to be honest here. It feels a little late in the game. School's being in session. This was not a surprise. We saw this coming in the nation, and it seems like Tennessee was completely caught off guard. That's very disappointing. There's a lot of political playing that's happening between those agencies. For me, I'm much more practical than I am political. And all this circumventing at the state level with our state leaders has really left our school systems and our educators without solutions. And the problems just keep coming. So we are doing our very best to solve those as they come to us with the solutions that we have. But just want to remind everyone that we don't have the toolbox of solutions that we had last year. In fact, a lot of our most valuable tools have been taken away from us. And so we're doing the very best that we can with what we have, but it is difficult. It greatly disappoints me, and I'm disappointed that we have not heard from our local representatives at the state level to check in on some of these measures and see how it's affecting us in Scott County. And so I'll be honest, I feel like our rural school systems are being a little left out in the dark because of some bigger battles that are going on between Nashville and Memphis and those school systems. And it really leaves us in the dark. So I just had to say that, get it off my chest, because I get it. There's battles that are going to be fought other places, but for us, we just want to have school, and we need tools to do that. And we need to solve some problems, and those problems sometimes are going to be short notice problems, and we're going to have to scramble pretty quickly to come up with the solutions. So some of the solutions that are being proposed aren't very practical in application. So I'm very anxious to see over the next week. Hopefully some of this stuff continue to develop in Nashville and get our school systems some solutions, because right now those solutions are very small. Just a couple of things from Scott High. Our annual Heritage Festival, we are continuing to plan for that. I'll be honest, with the rising numbers in the last couple of days, we met last week. And we're really hoping to see it turn around. This week has kind of has hurt that, but we do have that tentatively planned for September the 25th, but we are going to make a final decision on that festival on September the 10th. So hopefully a couple more weeks, maybe we'll start to see some improvements in our community. But we will make a final decision on if we are going to host that event on September the 10th. That's all that I have in case you have questions.
Okay, thank you. I've got Miss Amy Jeffers with Robbins.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I will not repeat anything that Ms. Rector said, but I do want to say that we're on the same page. She's exactly right, and I'm in complete agreement with her. We've been in school for a month, and I want the parents to know that we're doing everything that we can. We just don't have a lot of guidance from the state that we had last year. I also want our parents to know that even though we don't have those guidelines, a lot of the COVID things that we implemented last year as precautions, we are continuing those precautions this year. They just worked, and even if we wasn't in the same situation, we would have continued those things. But we're very aware of what's going on. Our janitors went into the building today and cleaned from one end to the next. They fogged. They did a great job of cleaning, and we'll continue to do that as often as necessary. We currently have 14 students that are COVID positive. Our biggest problem right now is in-home contacts, because those students are quarantined, and then our adults that are quarantined, so then we don't have subs to come in and cover for those teachers. So right now it's adults covering classes. That's where we're seeing our biggest problem. But we're doing our best to keep our kids safe, to keep our workers safe. And I want them to know that we've not dropped the ball. We realize what's going on, and we're doing our best to keep everyone safe. So substitutes, if you all want to sub, get your application in, because we certainly need adults in the building at this time. And that's all I have, unless you have anything for me.
Okay, thank you. I got Miss Goodman with Huntsville Middle.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to repeat what they're saying. It's the exact same thing that Miss Melissa and Miss Amy have said. The adults are covering the classes. There's no subs. The teachers are calling everybody on the list, and they're either sick themselves, they have children that they're having to stay home with who are quarantined, or they're subbing for somebody else. So that is definitely a problem. We're just like they said, we went right into the school year with the exact same COVID procedures that we had last year. None of that has stopped. We're still doing all of that. As of yesterday evening, Huntsville Middle had 11 positive students, 9 that were quarantined. We do have faculty and staff who are out sick, but that's due to flu, strep, and everything else that's going on as of right now that we know of. Just the same stuff that they're saying. We'll see how it goes, but right now we still have on our schedule the Thursday night game with Robbins at Huntsville, but we'll see how that goes. If we do have that game, we do have 8th grade night planned, and that is pregame beginning at 6:30. So just stay close. We'll get all calls out and update the websites as we get a little bit closer to that. I want to thank Mission of Hope. They came and dropped off the backpacks, and our teachers put those backpacks together and got those out to the students. So we're very appreciative of all of that. Those kids need those things. They need those backpacks. They get pencils, they get folders, they get paper, a lot of those back to school items that they need. I want to say a special thanks to maintenance. There has just been a plethora of issues as far as heating and air and the rain and all the things that's going on there. And they have done a fantastic job of constantly staying on top of that. With teachers teaching live, plus teaching students who are remotely coming in. There has been some issues with the technology, and Greg and Tom and Tony and Josh and Mr. Seven and everybody at technology has done a great job to come by, help those teachers get things set up, take care of the issues that they've got so they can get going. So we appreciate all the extra help and everything that everybody's doing, because I know everybody's stressed. So we appreciate everybody, just everything that they're doing under these stressful times. And that's all I have, unless you have something for me.
Okay, thank you. I've got Miss Hamilton with Huntsville Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. Ours is mostly the same as what everybody else is talking about. Custodian came in clean today. I have one custodian who is out due to having COVID. I have teachers and other staff members that are either direct contacts or they have COVID themselves. Lots of students out. It's just as everyone else is saying, we're needing the adults to be able to cover. Technology's been great. We have some students, though, with first and kindergarten. They're working on getting their computers out to them. So they're mostly using paperwork or any other device that they have. All the cleaning precautions with masks and everything that we're taking, we're doing the best we can. As they said, we're just working on it and trying to make it work. And I too am very disappointed that from the state level, they haven't given us more directions and been able to help us out with the things that we need. I appreciate our maintenance department coming in, hanging lockers for us, and working on the other things that have been happening that's kind of broken down. But thank goodness our system has worked really well with getting the new sewer line fixed this summer. And that's a good positive for us. And I just appreciate everybody working hard, praying, and keeping us all in your prayers.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cash with Fairview. Is Mr. Cash with us? I guess not. Miss Tanya with Birchville.
Hello. How is everyone?
Good.
Good. Again, I'm just going to say ditto to everything that everyone has said so far. As everyone knows, my 4th and 5th grade did do digital at-home learning for Monday and Tuesday due to lack of substitutes, and all of my teachers either waiting on a test or being a household contact. 2 of those teachers did turn out having COVID. One of my 4th grade teachers and one of my 5th grade teachers. Thankfully, those teachers did stay home whenever they saw any symptoms and went to the doctor. So I appreciate them for following those procedures that we have in place. And like everyone said, we are following all of those safety procedures from last year, right when we jumped into this year. We do have 21 active COVID cases in the building and about that many that are quarantined, and not counting all of the flu and the strep that is going around. So it has been a year of illness again. And I hate to say that, but it has been. So just keep praying for everybody and all of our parents. I wanted to say how gracious they have been with all this going on. They are jumping in there, how gracious and how well the teachers have just been, like Ms. Rector said, they have just jumped in and did what needed to be doing, which is what they do every single time something happens. So when they say it takes a village, it literally takes a village to do all of that. Hopefully we are going back into school tomorrow with those 4th and 5th grade students. We do have substitutes coming in and we'll be using assistance where needed. Some of our staff will be coming back, so very thankful for that, but we will continue tomorrow if the weather is going to permit. Again, I can't say thank you enough to everybody that's reached out and trying to help everywhere. Technology maintenance, everybody. We are supposed to have an away football game on Thursday. Again, we'll just play that by ear and we'll know something before we head to Wartburg for that game. So I don't have anything else unless you have something for me.
Thank you, Ms. Tanya. Commissioner Shannon, you want to go next?
From our office, we definitely want to thank the Scott County Road Department and Road Director Kelvin King. They came out on August the 10th and mowed areas around the Fairview Elementary School playground. So we appreciate that. We also want to thank the town of Huntsville, Mayor Dennis Jeffers, for their assistance in a sewer issue at Robbins Elementary School. They came out after hours to address the issue at the sewer treatment plant. So we appreciate that very much. Moving on into textbooks, there's really nothing new to report there. For CTE, we have good news and we've got great news. So in a time that good and great news is always appreciated, I'll be glad to share it. Along with other federal programs in our system, we will be self-assessment, which is the lowest possible level of monitoring for this year. We're very grateful for that. It's far less time consuming whenever you've got the self-assessment as opposed to the on-site or desktop monitoring. So we'll be able to really focus in on other areas of our jobs and of our offices. So that's very appreciated. I also wanted to mention the great news here. We've been in meetings with TCAT, Mr. Dwight Murphy, concerning Spark 3.0 allocations for our school system. The Scott County school system has been approved for $223,834 as a part of the Spark 3.0. This is a part of the larger GIVE initiative, the Governor's Investment in Vocational Education, and this is the third round of these funds. Spark 1.0 was under John Blakely when he was in this position. It was around $55,000. My first year was Spark 2.0 at $75,000. So that amount has increased again to the $223,000, and we really, really appreciate those funds. And to be honest with you, I did not have to ask the instructors in these CTE dual enrollment programs twice for a list of how to spend these funds. Those monies were allocated very, very quickly, and hopefully, best intentions, we'll get those things spent out before the end of this school year for sure. So we're very appreciative of that. Again, the Spark funds are allocated and oversaw by the THEC, Tennessee Higher Education Commission. So I think that's all we've got on the Spark. Middle school CTE STEM program, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, is being allocated through the Board of Education. to our middle schools who are participating in this STEM program as a part of CTE. We're very, very appreciative of our middle school partners for that. And those students in those classrooms have got these funds that have been allocated, $1,250 per location that is participating there. And, that will allow those students to have those STEM supplies, equipment, things like that purchased in their classroom, as well as have career exploration in the computer lab. So that's a very positive thing going on in our middle school. For the maintenance side of it, our maintenance crew has been very, very busy keeping up with regular maintenance requests. Obviously coming out of this heat wave that we have had, it's been a lot of HVACs and things like that. We're very appreciative for the ESSER 2 funds that's going to replace a lot of those HVACs that have been giving us issues. So, but that being said, I'm really proud of our maintenance crew. They've been keeping up as best as possible. Also, the elementary schools have been receiving the first 2 shipments of the Brondel Pro Sanitizing Air Purifiers. I was in one of the classrooms today at Huntsville Middle and saw the unit. It looks to be a very hardy unit, and hopefully it does a good job for us. I hope that it truly does benefit the air quality of the classrooms. Moving on, there are 3 items that I'd ask for the agenda to have added to the agenda. The first item, we're recommending that the Scott County Board of Education enter into a service agreement with the town of Huntsville for sewage services. These sewage services will be provided at Huntsville Elementary Middle School, Scott High School, Fairview Elementary, and Robbins Elementary. Some of the services that would be covered would be very similar to what we saw there last week at Robbins Elementary whenever there was a sewage backup at their treatment plant. So those kinds of things would be covered as any labor for that work. Also pumps and things like that are necessary. We have had one go out and the price tag was about $7,000. So the amount that this service agreement would be very minute, very minuscule compared to that $7,000 one-time hit right there. Item number 2, we're asking the Board of Education to bid Board of Education vehicles. Now, part of these vehicles we've already approved for the maintenance to be bid. That would be 2 3/4 ton trucks, 1 1-ton truck, but we'd also like to ask for a 1/2 ton truck for here at the board office for maintenance textbook CTE, as well as an SUV sedan mid-size vehicle for the attendance offices. The item number 3, we're also asking the Board of Education to bid a lawnmower for Huntsville Elementary Middle School. The mower is in disrepair. It is a discontinued unit. We can no longer get parts for it. We've done everything that we can, even sourcing parts on eBay that were used to try to keep this particular mower going. But it's now to the point that we're in trouble with it. Hopefully it holds together for the process to allow us to get one to replace it. But that's all I've got, unless anyone's got any questions for me.
I got one. I had the maintenance guys. They were just a little disappointed that they didn't get the summer school pay. They kind of approached me about that. I thought you'd be the one to talk to. What I would like, if you could, just get me information on how maybe summer school affected their workload. I just want to be fair to them because I know I talked to Bill and Amanda about the issue, and I just want to be fair if the summer school affected their workload like it did the teachers, cafeteria, bus drivers, everybody else. I just want to try to be fair and get the money to them, just to make it equal for them. So if you just give me that information, maybe the other board members want it too.
I will. Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Mr. Shannon, I have a question. The service agreement with the town of Huntsville,
Yes.
do we have a draft of that agreement or who is?
As a matter of fact, as part of the agenda item, there is a town of Huntsville ordinance number.
I saw the ordinance.
The ordinance and then the itemized pay and things like that. Are you asking for the agreement between Mr. Hall and Mr. Jeffers?
Yes.
Okay, I've got one written up,
Okay.
and I'll provide you with a copy of that as well. Yes, sir. Anything else?
Okay, thank you. Okay. Mr. Gray, do you have anything?
Let's see, updates. I'm not sure if I told you, if we knew at the last board meeting that we were waiting on the January order of laptops. And what we found with that was that they made it from China to Atlanta to Knoxville, and that's where they stay. So from the 1st of July, what we eventually found out, they were sitting on a warehouse dock over there, and the company that Lenovo had chosen to deliver them just said that they didn't deliver to Scott County. So, we can come halfway across the world, but they can't make the hour up the road, right? So I want to thank my father, Ralph Bond, who, with his 50 years of logistics experience, he helped me find out where they were and locate, the people I needed to locate, and helping me contract out a truck to go and pick them up and bring them back. So, not last Thursday, but the Thursday before, the January order finally showed up, and we began sending, working on the laptops, getting them ready to go out. 2 days later, Josh calls me. He's like, "Hey, you expecting some laptops?" I'm like, "We've already got the January order." He's like, "Well, this is a different truck set at Scott High." So then the May order showed up with 900 laptops 2 days later. It's kind of crazy, but we've got the laptops now, thank the Lord. And we just finished what we call the fill-ins. The students in grades 2 through 12 who have come into the school district after our initial deployment last year and needed laptops. Josh delivered most of those today to the school, so they'll have those when they get back. Our next big batch is K and 1. Those are the last ones that we didn't get to last year. Last year's kindergartners, where they roll up. Get those done, then we start the fleet cycle, which this is a whole big thing that if y'all need me to explain it more in depth, I will, but it's how we will fund this going forward. Buying a fourth of the entire fleet every year rather than all at once. So we'll begin that process. Active panels have arrived, and that was a process. We ended up storing most of them at the Birchfield, the second gym at Birchfield, because we just ran out of space at technology, and came on. It was 10 or 12 26-foot trucks that drove up here from Atlanta pulling them out. So it's all a process, but we've got most of the big stuff where we can get our hands on it, and we're this close to start rolling. That we're waiting on. Donna mentioned the online. We started getting complaints that in the middle of the day, in the middle of a lesson, the computers just shut down and restart. And it took us a while to figure out what was going on there, but apparently the newest versions of Windows 10 and a certain model of Promethean board don't get along. And so the teachers are sitting there using their board, they just reset. We found the fix for it and have been rolling it out everywhere that we've gotten reports, and that seems to be taken care of. It takes, a minute to put the fix on it. It took us a while to figure it out. But everything else seems to be going pretty well as far as I know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Bowles, did you have anything?
Yes, I got 2 things for the agenda. First item is a private run for this is Eva Parton. She lives up Upper Jellicoe Creek. Right there at the end of where Gum Fork meets Upper Jellicoe Creek, the bridge has been out since last year, has a weight limit on it, so our bus cannot travel across it. They have been bringing the kids down to a place where they can catch the bus. And I would like to provide a private run for them until that bridge gets fixed. So that's what that's about, help them with the gas cost. The second item is I'd like to show buses 02-5, 04-1, 04-5, and 04-7. These buses are out of service and show them as surplus property and request the finance director to sell at the public auction. We'll have quite a few more buses that we'll need to get this next year. All our 04s, we had 7 04s, 8 05s, 8 06s. So all these are starting to come down now. So, and we'll have less and less as we replace these buses. We'll have less and less extended utilizations that we have to do every year. So, and that's all I got, unless you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Davy, you want to go next?
Been a busy month. We have had several children come in, transferred in with IEPs or eligibility, so we've been busy taking care of those new kids, also completing annual IEPs, reevals, and so on. Did get our results back from our self-monitoring that we participated in last year, and so IDEA and Title I, we were happy that we did not have any findings, so we didn't have to do anything to correct that. We were happy. Weren't we, Ms. Amanda? And then our discretionary grant monitoring, got those results back last week. No findings in that, so very happy that we didn't have to make any corrections there. We're like Mr. Shannon, we're very happy that we're going to be participating in that self-assessment, which is so much better than having someone come on site and go through records and so on. So we'll be participating in the self-assessment. In my IEP monitoring, 16 folders were pulled across the district. We had no findings in that area, so we were very happy with those monitoring results. Our next monitoring, we're in the wave 4, which will take place in March, so we have a while to get ready for that. It's been a busy time as far as just completing state reports. Right here at the beginning of school, we had several reports. So today I just completed the special ed expenditure report and the private school report for 3 through 5 ages and also 6 through 21. Got 2 more to go before September the 15th, my compensatory report and post-secondary survey for those students that have graduated last school year. So we're working on that. And the only thing that I do have for the agenda is with my IDEA ARP grant funds, and you all should have some paperwork up there showing the breakdown of what that money was used for. We just tried to look at, of course, you all were here when we talked about the ESSER 3, but with my money, I'm going to pick up some assistance, and Miss Amanda, with her money, was going to pick up the rest of the assistance for the schools. And then with that money, we're going to be purchasing some instructional supplies in the area of math, paying for OT, PT with some of those monies with contract services, some other supplies and materials. But you all have a breakdown if you want to look at those areas. But that's the only thing that I have for the agenda, unless you all have any questions for me. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Linda.
Okay, on your desk up there, I did put some testing information. We did get test scores back a little bit later than the state had predicted, but anyway, we still don't have AMOs yet. Those should come out in a few weeks. But anyway, just take a look at the sheets that I gave you all. The first sheet that has the red and blue circle on it, trying to explain the difference, because we get 2 types of test scores. We get achievement, which is this sheet, and keeping in mind, and I always just try to explain it, because unless you're just used to knowing the difference and hearing it a lot, it might be hard to differentiate between those. But when we take achievement tests, then this is grades 2 through 8, along with the EOCs of high school. This simply measures students' performance at a single point in time. Like we have a certain date that we give our ELA, we give our math, we give our science and social studies or whatever. So that's the scores that those students make on that achievement test on that given day. It relates to students' family background. And research has shown that students that have maybe less fluent backgrounds, or parents can't take them on field trips, or have reading materials in the home and different things like that, they are at a little bit more of a disadvantage. Then compare students' performance to a standard, and we do have Tennessee standards. And when we give an achievement test, those students are answering questions relating to the Tennessee standards. Then it's also critical to students' post-secondary opportunities. So it's important that they be able to score as well as they can on that test. And if you, let me just differentiate from that sheet for just a minute and look at the TCAP. This is achievement. It's only grades 2 through 8. Haven't had time to look through the EOCs just yet. But if you look at this, you're going to see grades 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And at the top, it's going to be ELA, English Language Arts. And over on the right side, you're going to see the district score. And this is based on track and mastered. Used to be proficient and advanced. And of course, our students, we usually look at how we score compared to how the state scores. And if you'll remember, this is when the governor put out that about only a third of our students were on reading level this past year, and that's why he implemented all the things with reading. But if you look at the district, you'll see the district scores, and then if you can look at the state and see the state scores. And the bottom is math, the very same thing, except the bottom does have the scores for math. So, in thinking about our scores, honestly, we always want to get better. We always want to improve, and thinking about the different challenges all of our schools had with COVID and virtual kids and those different things. We do have some scores that are better than others. So that is why we are glad that we was able to have the summer camps. We were glad to have the training and the Reading 360. The things that we're doing right now, hopefully, is going to help us improve. So you can just look at that. This is purely achievement, the scores that were made on that those given test dates. But if you look at the other sheet, I'm going to talk about the blue for just a minute. This is what we call TBOS. That's what we call TBOS lots of times, or growth. In this chart here, the state has labeled it as progress, which is the very same thing. This measures a student's progress between 2 points in time. Actually, it compares a student's scores from last year on a particular subject to what they scored on this year's subject. And it's not related to the student's family background. It compares students' performance to their own prior performance. It's critical to ensuring students' future academic success. And lots of times this is where we say there are some, influences in there, such as the school, the teacher, just different influences that may make a difference as far as these growth scores or progress. So if you look at the scores above, these are the Scott County District scores. And how Scott County District scores comes about is when they are averaged, when all the school scores are averaged together, which gives us the district scores. So if you look over on that second page for just a minute, you're going to see the different schools with the different subjects, the different components of the test. And if you look at the first one, is school-wide composite. And you can see there, of course, 5 is the best score you can get. You see that we have some really good scores on that school-wide composite. Huntsville Middle has a 5, Winfield has a 4. So that's going to vary among schools based on those different variables that we have and those different challenges that different schools have, I guess. So then we have school-wide literacy. We have school-wide literacy and numeracy, and then science and social studies was not, as far as TVOS and growth, was not calculated this time. And then you see TCAP 4 through 8, the school-wide composite, school-wide numeracy, literacy and numeracy. And as you can just read yourself, as I'm not going to read that for you, but you can look at those yourself and kind of see what they are. But again, we always want to improve. We feel like what we're doing this year, and if we can just stay in school and continue with classes, it's going to make a difference, and we are, we're going to progress, we really feel like. So that pretty much, and I know that's a lot of information, so if you do have any questions, I'll be happy to explain further in depth as best I can for you. Just want to mention a couple of other things. Not only is we're finally getting our test scores from last year, but we have started our training for testing this year. So I know I have my district-wide testing meeting September the 21st, and pretty soon the building level testing, which is usually principals or a coach in the school, they'll be starting their training. So it's starting right back again. Then also, we have been doing lots of professional development, starting with the beginning of school. We've done several with pre-K, K, and first grade, several training days there. And then we did have our early release day on August the 18th, which was very successful. I just want to read you a couple of emails rather, not letters, that I received from some teachers talking about the early release day that we had. And we had a K-5 and a 6-8, and Dr. Beth Levins did the K-5, and this teacher, who is a second grade teacher, addressed this to me and Dr. Mary Beth Levins, and she said, "Ladies, I just want you both to know that I really like today's training, because I could talk with other second grade teachers in the county that have done CKLA. It's a way for us to share resources and ideas. I liked how Beth was able to answer questions, give us guidance on anything we weren't sure of. I think early release days this way are great." And then we had at the end of the session, we had them to do a little post-it ticket out the door, write what they really liked about today's training and what they'd like to see in next month's training. And she's just saying that she wasn't sure her post-it conveyed everything that she wanted to say. And her last sentence was, "After listening, I felt much better about if I was doing it like I was supposed to. However, I know I have much more to learn about CKLA as I go through it." And then from a 5th grade teacher, she said, "I just wanted to give you feedback from early release PD on Wednesday. That was exactly what we all needed. The presenter was helpful, was in touch with the classroom. I think all 5th grade teachers enjoyed being able to plan and discuss things from our individual classrooms. It was very helpful. Thank you." So we're hoping to continue. We did have math. Melissa Roberts, our math coach, conducted the math, and so we felt like it was a really good, successful 2 hours that was, time well spent. I mean, our goal was it not only to be very beneficial, to give them the knowledge that they needed, but that it was also engaging and that they could see value in it. So we felt like it turned out to be a really, really good day. And that's all I have, unless you've got questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what about Mr. Keith Murray? Did he have anything, What about Keith Murray? Probably not. Okay, Ms. Amanda, do you have anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Been working on some things, several budgets you have up there for you guys to, on the agenda as far as to approve is ESSER 3.0. We got that turned in all of our plans, so we're just waiting on feedback on that. Haven't received any yet. You also have carryover budget, the ESSER 2.0. You have a copy of that up there, as well as ESSER 1.0. So that's all the ESSER budgets that we have. And then the normal budgets that we normally have, the Safe Schools and the SRO grant. We have copies of those up there as well, if y'all can approve that have that on the agenda. And then also I have amendment number 3 to the GP budget, and this just brings in our grants. And then also I am bringing some from reserves. If you look at that amendment there, that is to cover ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 items. And what will happen is the federal funds will pay back the general purpose budget. So that will go back, but I just wanted to let you know that's what's coming out of reserves there. And then on amendment 2, it's just bringing in ESSER 1, 2, and 3, and then Miss Debbie's ARPA-IDEA budget as well. And then just working on school plans are due tomorrow. Already looking over a few of them actually, and then we'll get updated allocations on our consolidated budget tomorrow. They always give us preliminary budgets in April, but we'll get the final allocations tomorrow. So hopefully they remain the same and don't go down any. That's all I have unless y'all have any questions.
Thank you. Hey, what about Mr. Shoemaker? Is he with us? Brent Shoemaker? Probably not. Okay, Mr. Hall, you will be next.
Yes, thank you, guys. Again, I do want to apologize for not being there tonight. I'm out of town. I want to thank the technology group for allowing me to connect digitally tonight. First thing I want to go over is items for the agenda. First thing, we need to appoint a legislative liaison for the Scott County Board of Education, the TSBA convention. We also need to appoint delegates to the delegate assembly during the TSBA convention. I need to approve the 2021-2022 Safe Schools grant and accept the school resource officer grant. I also want to approve the immunization memorandum of understanding. Also, with Mr. Murley in attendance, we need to appoint a disciplinary hearing authority committee. I need to approve the following overnight out-of-state trips. And I believe that's all we have as for items for the agenda. I would like to announce that we did take a weather-related day today for the Scott County Schools. We'll check again in the morning, see how things are after tonight's weather. But as of right now, the Scott County Schools are planning on being on time. That is for tomorrow. Again, Scott County Schools on time. I also want to go over our enrollment data for currently right now. We started the year, I do believe, at 2553. Right now, we stand at 2484. 2,484 students right now. We have lost several to some to out of state, some to out of county, but the majority has been to either Penn Foster or the independent homeschools. So right now, again, our total enrollment is at 2484. Touched base a little bit on the COVID. All the principals mentioned their COVID numbers for today. As of today, there are 101 total active cases in Scott County Schools. And as you saw how they were kind of spread out amongst each school. That's close to 4% of our student body right now that we have that is currently active with COVID. We know as the days go on, we'll be getting some more back. Hopefully that the numbers will start to decrease as far as the new cases. But as of right now, we have 101 total cases. Getting in also with the COVID, today's day, like I said, it was a weather-related day. And I want you guys to know and the general public to know that I cannot close school for COVID and put us on a digital day. That has not been approved by the state. The Commissioner of Education did last Friday come out with a waiver that would allow the superintendent to close a particular class or a grade or even a school. That waiver has to be approved. Now, I will say it came so quick on Sunday. I guess I'll beg the commissioner for forgiveness. We did not get the waiver turned in to get it wait to approval because it had to be done. So as we work through this, again, like I said, I do have to submit a waiver if we close any type of grade or a school. But again, the waiver would not be permitted to close the entire district. The only way that could come in to where play into effect would be if the governor put us back on a state of emergency, which at that point in time would allow us to use the continuous learning plan or the CLP that we put in place last year. That has not happened, and I don't know if it will happen. As Ms. Rector and I think some of the principals mentioned earlier, we'll get some conflicting kind of details coming out from each department. So but we will work through them to the best that we can. One thing that I did want to talk to you guys as I'm getting toward more of the COVID stuff is to add to the agenda. I know as things are going on, I know a couple of districts have done this. I think Williamson County, Morgan County, and we have talked about this in some situations. But I would like to go ahead and ask that we reinstate the 10 COVID days for all personnel for Scott County Schools. Again, that is providing your guys' approval. Are any questions with that?
That is for everyone, right?
That is for everyone, yes. Yes, if you guys feel like it should be for everyone, I do. So I think we need to do it for everyone. Touch a little bit base right now on mask. I know that a letter I received from the Tennessee Department of Health on Monday, and I was also on the phone with Ms. Gail Harmon, our regional coordinator. They are asking districts, or asking, should I say, the Board of Educations to issue some sort of a mask mandate. Again, we've never had a mask mandate in place. If a mask mandate was to be in place for our school system, again, that would have to be voted upon by you guys. My recommendation right now is that we go to a strongly recommend the use of mask. And I think as we touched base on looking at the algorithm, there are some things where if people have masks on to where it can really help with the quarantine cases. I would recommend that right on the bus when you're in close contact, you cannot do the contact or the social distancing. So right now, I'd like I said, we go to strongly recommend wearing the mask. Now, I will also say this too, that if this board at some point in time was to want to issue a mask mandate, that there is a form that the governor has put in place, or a law the governor has put in place, that would allow each parent to opt out. So like I said, if there is a mask mandate that you guys want to put in place, parents have the option to opt out with the form that has been approved by the governor of Tennessee. So that's why my recommendation is at this time as what it is. Field trips, I know as our case started to increase, I know we looked and was getting some field trips started and in line. Right now, I'd like to put some field trips on hold. Give us a couple of weeks to kind of see if we see the decrease in numbers. And then we will, again, look at it, because the field trips, especially the educational ones that right now that I had approved earlier, are very important and are very beneficial. But right now, I said we can put things on hold until, we can get a better feel for what's going to take place next few weeks. I want to applaud our principals, our teachers, our parents, and everyone that's helped us work through trying times. As the principals mentioned, we're doing everything we can inside those schools to keep it clean, to maintain a social distance, and to look after the safety and the well-being of our students. As we get into more of the contact tracing, I know you guys should have received a letter yesterday from the TSBA, which went over the COVID guidance. And it does mention in there to where the contact tracing and all the contact to the parents should be done by the Department of Health. Now, we will continue to help and do what we can and to streamline those efforts. I know there's certain situations where these people absolutely know. We will try our best to get that information always as quickly as we can to the Department of Health. With that being said, Ms. Harmon did mention yesterday from the Department of Health that they are hiring new people in place. So hopefully this process will be more fluent and will become better, and we'll get information to the parents on a quicker basis. Let's see. Guys, I think that's about everything that I have, unless you all have any questions for me. No, wait a minute. Let me go over the waiver process with you real quick. If you'll give me just a second. I do want to touch base on the waiver and what we have to do in order to kind of give you guys an idea. Okay. All right, so the waiver is meant to address the current rises in cases. The waiver is meant to be a short-term relief plan, not permanent plan. Waiver will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, school grade, level, and classes. And again, at this time, as I mentioned earlier, they are not triggering our continuous learning plan to be put in place at this time. The waiver is meant to provide a clear pathway for schools in response to the COVID-19 surge. Individual student and parent decisions remain priority for the waiver application, which are specific to school and classroom level. And again, no option for district level waiver can be done at this time. Submitting the waiver, according to Commissioner Swin, is not a rubber stamp, that it would be a high threshold to meet. Some of the things they look for from us is that there's no way, it's a situation with Birchfield, if there was no way to run a classroom grade level, then that waiver would be approved. You guys have any questions at this time concerning the waiver?
Who's doing the evaluation?
Excuse me?
Who will be doing the evaluation?
Commissioner Swin.
He will.
Go straight to her desk.
And so we can't do distance learning without his permission.
Say it again, Miss Linda.
Can we not do any distance learning without his permission? I thought the plan was, that the teachers could teach at home if they were able.
Now, we can do that. The teachers can teach at home if our kids are in school. Okay? We've had that to happen, and I think, I know Miss Stanley, she was talking about she had a wonderful story that she shared with us yesterday with her teacher. I know Scott Highs has some teachers that have done it. We can do that. The teachers, if they are quarantined,
they can do it.
That they can teach. And again, if they're doing that, they're not using a COVID day. They use that COVID day if they're too sick and can't if they're out with COVID. But yeah, we have done that as far as allowing that to take place and to happen. And like I said, the principal shared with me yesterday some really, really great stories as far as learning and the attentiveness of the student. Everyone with the laptop in place, them being in place up on the Promethean board, being able to see there was no learning loss in that situation right there. And I don't understand why other districts aren't doing this, because if you got and nothing against subs, and we're having a hard time finding it as it is, but you're going to get everything. You allow that teacher to do that, as far as having a sub in the class and very minimal teaching going on at that time. So, we do have to have a sub in the class to help monitor those situations. I think if they don't have subs, I think some of the teachers have even coming in on their planning and helping out with the monitoring situation. I think Ms. Director had mentioned that to us also yesterday. So shout out to everyone because it's taken everybody in order to do this. I really feel like looking at other districts' numbers from what they have shared with me, we're nowhere in the situation as bad as some of the other schools. I could share a school in Middle Tennessee that, of course, now they have 11,000 students across the district. And as of last week, they already had 1,000 positive cases. So there are some people that are getting hit really hard. Our numbers are rising, but we're not to that level yet, where you're talking over 10%. Right now, our nurses are back. That's the full staff, I do believe. But be praying for Miss Rosemary. Keep her in your prayers as she's going forward. I ask everyone to keep our schools in their prayers. That's just that God could put a hedge of protection around our community. That we can look at this with common sense, and we can look at this to look out after each other, for the betterment of each other and the safety of each other. It's not going to be easy, as we've seen before. We've dealt with it before, and we will deal with it again, and we will deal with it effectively. I have all the confidence in our people that we can. I have all the confidence in our parents that we can do the right thing. As I know some principals mentioned, if you're sick, you got symptoms, please stay home. Please stay home. Because not only you can be infected, but you can infect 4 or 5 more. So please stay home. We ask you to do that. Test when possible. There have been many breakthrough cases we're seeing. People have been vaccinated, have caught the virus. So, it's going, for the most part. I know that we've had some cases where the kids have been really sick, but the majority, like I said, we saw the fever, the runny nose, the scratchy throat, some like RSV type symptoms. But on top of that, I know other principals too, we have strep and flu also going. So we're kind of getting bombarded at once. We'll work through, and if need to be to where we get to that point where I would close, then I would close. We get our directions to keep schools open as long as we can. But as of today, we'll do what we have to do in order for safety. And guys, that's all I have, unless you all have any questions for me.
So if they get sent home, they've got COVID or they're quarantined, say they've got a mild case of COVID. And if they are able to get online that day to teach, then that's not a day that they have to take for COVID.
No, it is not. And also our students, if they're quarantined, they should be connecting live daily. And that teacher in that classroom, we have the capabilities, should be connecting live. That's every teacher should be connecting live with their students. The students are there, then it goes down as a D, that they are connecting live and they are participating in the class. If a student's out and they're not connecting, if it's a technical issue, they need to call. If they're just not connected on their own, it go down as an absence, an excused absence, but it still goes down as an absence. But yeah, there would not be a COVID day if they were able to participate. Now, going in, putting on lessons, staying on 5 minutes, no. Talking about the full day of going in and staying connected with all your classes, regular schedule, and run as usual.
For the ones that have already been out for COVID, are we going to backtrack any, or does it just start from this?
We would backtrack that, okay? We want to make it square and level. We would backtrack that. So provided you guys are okay with that, because like I said, this will be your decision. I'll recommend that.
As far as the mask mandates, I apologize. I was looking at something in the budget. What was your recommendation as far as the mask mandate?
Right now, we're just going to highly recommend, strongly recommend, no mandate as of today. Any mandate, guys, again, has to come from you guys.
Okay.
We'd highly recommend on the bus. Parents, always make that best choice for your child. Always make the best choice.
Will that be 10 days for the whole year?
10 days for the year, yes. 10 days for the year.
Anybody else have a question for him? Mr. Hall, I think I overlooked, Miss Paulette. Is she?
Okay, yeah, she's on there. She is. And Mr. Shoemaker texted me. I think I read his agenda item out, but he was trying to get on. I do know that much.
Okay.
He said he was trying to speak, but you couldn't hear him. Is Miss Paulette on? Did you get Miss
I'm
Paulette?
here. Yes, been here the whole time.
Okay.
Sorry, Paulette.
That's okay, Miss Esther. I would just like to say that, we're surviving. That's what I can say. As all the principals have said, it's the same in my department. We're working short-staffed. There's no subs to put in a lot of places, and I can thank Miss Stanley, as she mentioned, she has loaned some of her staff to help me in the cafeteria, which I appreciate, because we can only spread our floating cook to one place a day, and some of our other schools have had to work short. I asked you to pray for my staff's endurance. They can't go to a whiteboard or go virtual or do any of those things to do their job. So I know that there are times that they're frustrated, and just pray that they have patience. But we're suffering from product shortages, our deliveries. There's so many things that's affecting us now that's out of our control. But we're thankful for what we do have, and that we have been able to feed and do what we can do at this point. We go from day to day. We don't know how many students that we're actually going to have that day. We do our best to try to figure out, exactly how much to prepare for students, and we may run short on one item and they may have to take another. But it's not that they run out of food. It's just that, they've planned for a certain number and they do the best that they can. But our main focus is that students get fed. I want to thank Mr. Hall for the mentioning about the COVID and the 10 days for the employees, because I started the year off with employees already on COVID. And with these ladies, some of them, there's no sick days to use. And so they would automatically have pay deductions. And I know that they need their paychecks, as we all do. Other than that, as I said, we are surviving. And I'm thankful for those that are healthy, and I hope the rest get healthy soon. And for everyone else that's out there. But that's all I have, unless you all have something.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hall, did you find Mr. Shoemaker's?
Yeah, well, I read his out. He may be on now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mr. Shoemaker. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry about that. As he's already read about the agenda item, that is the same thing, the MOU with Mountain Peoples every year for the faculty and staff flu vaccinations. So we do want to get that on the agenda and make sure that we get that passed. That we don't have the date set yet, but we are looking at the week before fall break, as we do normally always for those flu vaccinations. It kind of gives the staff a few days before they get on break and things like that to get that completed. And we'll go around to the schools as always. And that's all as far as agenda items. But one of the main things I want to talk about again is just I know we did this last month and thank the fire department and all that, but I didn't really get a chance to really thank them. And I want to thank them for, at the start of the school year, always being willing and available to help us to get our schools started back off on the right track and the safety and let everyone know that we're back in school. And, there was a couple of firefighters that actually took some personal days off to accommodate us and do that for us. So I really want to thank them for that and taking the time to do that each and every year. And also thank our sheriff's department and the times that they do that every day, morning and afternoon, working our school zones to make sure that those areas are safe for our students. And that's all I have, unless you have some questions for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess did I miss anybody again? If not, Ms. Carleen, do you have anything?
Just like to say that I'm glad we are back at school, and I just hope that some of these numbers can drop and everybody can get healthy again.
Yeah, Ms. Linda, it would be nice to have school this year. That's you.
I actually do have something, and I'll try to keep it short. Mr. Cash contacted me about 2 weeks ago. He was contacted by a representative of the State Department of Transportation, and I think I've spoken with Bill about this as well. There's a little sliver of property that the state has identified that is within the right of way. Now, I've seen this on the county side. The state's trying to get rid of what they call surplus property. This is less than 1/8 of an acre, but they're wanting the school system to go ahead and accept it under a license or a deed. We're already using it. It runs along I think the asphalt parking lot. So we would need to put this on the agenda to approve. I don't see there's any reason not to do it, though. Did you hear that?
Yes, I got it.
Are you okay to put that on the agenda?
Yes, I am. Yes.
And the state will allow me to fill out the application.
Okay.
Go ahead and prepare that resolution as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. And the other thing is be reminded that this is the meeting where you elect a chair and a vice chair.
Okay.
That's all I have.
How about you, Ms. Kim?
I just appreciate all the teachers' patience and the parents and the students, and I hope that this year can be as normal as possible.
Don't have anything.
And Derek?
Just one thing for clarification on the, I guess this would be to Miss Amanda. On the ESSER 3 budget, I was looking under building construction, says 706, the line item number, 3.2 million. Is that the Fairview Gym, I'm guessing? Okay, I see that big number and I'm thinking, okay, I think that's for the gym, so.
Yes, and
I just
I'll
want
put
to
that
clarify.
there, and I hope the state approves it there. I may have to go back and move it. If that's the case, then I'll do it in and get y'all a new budget. But that's where I have it right now, building construction.
I'm just glad to hear that we got that going, so thank you.
Hopefully it gets approved. It's not for sure yet.
Yeah, all right, thank you then.
Hey, guys, if you could please do, Amanda and I want to talk about some budget things right there real quick. So if you can stay just for a few minutes, greatly appreciate it.
Did you also discuss about, one of the meetings is gonna land on Veterans Day? Was that what was discussed? And it wasn't gonna be a school day?
Yes, on our school board meeting, yes. Do you guys, was that, let me get my calendar right here real quick.
Tommy is in there, so
Yeah, the November 11th meeting is on Veterans Day. Leave it to you guys what you want to do. Do you want to keep it on that day? Schools will be closed that day. Do you want to move the meeting or?
Is that on a Thursday?
On Thursday, November 11th.
What's going on November 9th, on that Tuesday?
I have nothing.
What's your recommendation?
My recommendation, I'll have to go look. I want to look to see if we've done anything on Veterans Day before. I don't know if we have moved any or had it on Veterans Day. First thing, I want to be respectful to our veterans. That's the number one thing. I'd like to look and see if any time in the past we've had a meeting on Veterans Day. If you guys will give me a few days to do that.
Okay.
And talk to a few veterans.
Just have it ready by the board meeting, your suggestion, by the board meeting.
Say it again, Miss Linda.
Maybe you could, have a decision by the board meeting.
Yes, absolutely, I will.
Just put it as a discussion item.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Silcox, are you with us? Do you have anything?
I don't have anything other than the, when we go to Nashville for the TSBA, or have we figured out where we're staying at yet?
Yes, we are at the Gaylord Opryland. We got that right off the bat.
Okay. I was making sure because I couldn't remember getting an
Yes,
email, but I may have. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else? Mr. Howell, did you want to meet with the board?
Yes, if that's okay. You guys got a few minutes for me? And I
Okay.
want to miss Amanda also too.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, folks.